A year after SpaceX carried the first private US robotic lunar rover, Lunar Voyage 1, to the moon's south pole, a new documentary is taking viewers inside the mission. Drive Me to the Moon follows the partnership between lubricant maker Castrol, Lunar Outpost, which operated Lunar Voyage 1, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And it shows how technology tested in the harsh environment of space can help power innovation back on Earth. Let's get more on this with Chris Lockett. He's Senior Vice President of Castrol Technology. Great to have you on Global Business Europe, Chris. But you know what? We're really used to seeing Castrol powering our cars. Most people wouldn't know that you've been active in space for decades.
Yeah, that's right. We've been active in space for over 7 decades, actually. So we were involved with the original Apollo missions. We've been involved with the space shuttle, the International Space Station, and also the NASA rovers that have been visiting to Mars. And as you've just mentioned, the mission to the south pole of the moon last year.
Of course, there's so much unknown. That's what these missions are for, to discover more. But what we do know is that the conditions are harsh. So how do you start? How do you go about designing products that are going to withstand all of that?
Yeah, no, absolutely, you're right. So the conditions in space are very extreme, as you might expect, right? So you get really, really low temperatures, and you can also get really, really high temperatures. You have a high vacuum condition. You also have to deal with things like cosmic radiation and UV radiation, and therefore we have to design a product that lubricates the moving parts of the rovers that are visiting these planets, but also can survive and can operate within those extreme conditions. So basically we look and we research compounds that can act as a lubricant and perform in those conditions, and we do that through various different means. We do computational modelling, we do real physical climate testing as well, and we work in partnership, and that's what's really key about the success of these missions, is working in partnership and us providing our expertise around fluid and lubrication, working alongside companies like Lunar Outpost and their expertise in terms of building rovers. And when you bring those two together, you have a successful combination.
Tell me more about those collaborations, because it's private industry, it's research institutions, space agencies, everyone plays a part, don't they, in accelerating this technology?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's kind of what's critical, and that's really how we operate as a company, really, as Castrol. We have this approach called co-engineering, where we like to get involved with these programs really, really early on, so that we can get involved in the early stages of design. So therefore, you can come up with this perfect solution of the hardware and the fluids working in sync together to give the optimal solution. And yeah, as you've seen with the space industry, that combination of private enterprise commercialization and also national organisation as well coming together, that's kind of leading to new breakthroughs and new opportunities.
How does what happens in space really affect tech advancements on Earth?
Yeah, so if you go back to those initial missions that we supported back in the Apollo missions back in the 60s, there was technology today, computers that probably is just as powerful as what we carry in our pockets and in our mobile phones today, right? So therefore, the technology that was used in space travel then is now commonplace on Earth today. And likewise, some of the experimentation, some of the computational work that we're doing is translating into breakthroughs down here on Earth. For us as Castrol, you know, we're creating products that have got a really long durability, right? And we learn from that, and we can apply that to the products that we develop on Earth to go into cars, bikes, trucks, ships, data centers, etc. And as an example, we've got the Mars rover. We set that up in 2012, and it was expected to operate for a couple of years. We're really proud to say that 14 years later, it's still moving around the surface of Mars, operating with Castrol lubricant. So we do learn a lot that you can then apply to Earth as well. But it's also about learning what can we learn about the universe in which we exist, and going to the lunar South Pole is going to allow us to make some more experimentation to learn more about the universe. But it's also a potential staging post for astronauts to go further beyond the moon in future years.
So let's talk about going further. You know, what next? Where would you like to see space exploration going so that our cars and our electricity grids are going to be better?
Yeah, so I mean, the reason why we're interested in the South Pole of the moon is there are some quite unique conditions there, and essentially there are some craters there that have never seen the sun, and therefore there's ice and water that exists in those craters, and that's a source of hydrogen and oxygen, which is rocket fuel. And there are also craters that are quite high, and at the top of those craters you get constant solar power. So therefore you've got power, you've got rocket fuel, and therefore it becomes a great potential staging post to explore further. So that is kind of one of the reasons why we're really interested in that particular part of the moon and why this mission happened.
Chris Lockett at Castrol Technology, it's been great talking to you. Thanks so much.